Maggie doing when your father came home?
I don't remember whether she was there or whether she'd gone upstairs. I can't remember.
Who let your father in?
I think he came to the front door and rang the bell, and I think Maggie let him in, and he said that he'd forgotten his key, so I think she must have been downstairs.
His key would have done him no good if the locks were left as you left.
But they were always unbolted in the morning.
Who unbolted them that morning?
I don't think they had been unbolted. Maggie can tell you.
If he had not forgotten his key, it would have been no good.
No, he had his key, and he could not get in. I understood Maggie to say he said he had forgotten his key.
Did you not hear him say anything about it?
I heard his voice, but I don't know what he said.
I understood you to say he had forgotten his key.
No, it was Maggie said he had forgotten his key.
Where was Maggie when the bell rang?
I don't know, sir.
Where were you when the bell rang?
I think in my room upstairs.
Then you were upstairs when your father came home.
I don't know, sure, but I think so.
What were you doing?
As I say, I took these clean clothes and stopped and basted a little piece of tape on a garment.
Did you come down before your father was let in?
I was on the stairs coming down when she let him in.
Then you were upstairs when your father came to the house on his return.
I think I was.
How long had you been there?
I had only been upstairs long enough to take the clothes up and baste that little loop on the sleeve. I don't think I'd been up there over 5 minutes.
Was Maggie still engaged in washing windows when your father got back?
I don't know.
You remember, Miss Borden, I will call your attention to it so as to see if I have any misunderstanding. Not for the purpose of confusing you. You remember that you had told me several times that you were downstairs and not upstairs when your father came home. You have forgotten, perhaps.
I don't know what I've said. I've answered so many questions and I'm so confused. I don't know one thing from another. I'm telling you just as nearly as I know how.
Calling your attention to what you said about that a few minutes ago, and now again to the circumstances, you have said you were upstairs when the bell rang and were on the stairs when Maggie let your father in. Which now is your recollection of the true statement of the matter? That you were downstairs when the bell rang and your father came?
I think I was downstairs in the kitchen.
And then you were not upstairs?
I think I was not, because I went up almost immediately as soon as I went down and then came down again and stayed down.
What had you in your mind when you said you were on the stairs as Maggie let your father in?
The other day somebody came there and she let them in and I was on the stairs. I don't know whether that morning before or when it was.
You understood. I was asking you exactly and explicitly about this fatal day.
Yes, sir.
I now call your attention to the fact that you had specifically told me you had gone upstairs and had been there for about 5 minutes when the bell rang, and you were on your way down and were on the stairs when Maggie let your father in that day.
Yes, I said that. And then I said, I do not know whether I was on the stairs or in the kitchen.
Now how will you have it?
I think as nearly as I know, I think I was in the kitchen.
How long was your father gone?
I don't know, sir.
An
Not
hour?
very long. I should not think so.
Will you give me the best ways you can, so far as your recollection serves you, if your time while he was gone?
I sprinkled my handkerchiefs and got my ironing board and took them into the dining room. I took the ironing board in the dining room and left the handkerchiefs in the kitchen on the table, and whether I ate any cookies or not, I don't remember. Then I sat down looking at the magazine, waiting for the flats to heat. Then I went to the sitting room and got the Providence Journal and took that into the kitchen. I don't recollect of doing anything else.
Which did you read first, the journal or the magazine?
The magazine.
You told me you were reading the magazine when your father came back.
I said in the kitchen, yes.
Was that so?
Yes, I took the journal out to read and had not read it. I had it near me.
You said a minute or two ago you read the magazine a while and then went to get the journal and took it out to read.
I did, but I did not read it. I tried my flats then.
And went back to reading the magazine.
I took the magazine up again, yes.
When did you last see your mother?
I did not see her after when I went down in the morning, and she was dusting the dining room.
Where did you or she go then?
I don't know where she went. I know where I was.
Did you or she leave the dining room first?
I think I did. I left her in the dining room.
You never saw her or heard her afterwards?
No, sir.
Did she say anything about making the bed?
She said she'd been up and made the bed up fresh and dusted the room and left it all in order. She was going up to put some fresh pillow slips on the small pillows at the foot of the bed and was going to close the room because she was going to have company Monday. She wanted everything in order.
How long would it take to put on the pillow slips?
About 2 minutes.
How long to do the rest of the things?
She had done that when I came down.
All that was left was what?
Put on the pillow slips.
Can you give me any suggestion as to what occupied her when she was up there when she was struck dead?
I don't know of anything except she had some cotton cloth pillowcases up there and she said she was going to commence to work on them. That is all I know, and the sewing machine was up there.
Whereabouts was the sewing machine?
In the corner between the north and west side.
Did you hear the sewing machine going?
I did not.
Did you see anything to indicate that the sewing machine had been used that morning?
I had not. I do not go in there until after everybody had been in there and the room had been overhauled.
If she had remained downstairs, you would undoubtedly have seen her.
If she had remained downstairs, I should have. If she had remained in her room, I should not have.
Where was that?
Over the kitchen.
To get to that room, she would have to go through the kitchen?
To get up the back stairs.
That is the way she was in the habit of going?
Yes, sir, because the other doors were locked.
If she had remained downstairs or had gone to her own room, you undoubtedly would have seen her.
I should have seen her if she'd stayed downstairs. If she had gone to her room, I would not have seen her.
She was found a little after 11 in the spare room. If she had remained downstairs, you would undoubtedly have seen her.
If she had remained downstairs, I should have. If she had remained in her room, I should not have.
Where was that?
Over the kitchen.
To get to that room, she would have to go through the kitchen.
To get up the back stairs.
That is the way she was in the habit of going.
Yes, sir, because the other doors were locked.
If she had remained downstairs or had gone to her own room, you undoubtedly would have seen her.
I should have seen her if she stayed downstairs. If she had gone to her room, I would not have seen her.
She was found a little after 11 a.m. in the spare room. If she had gone to her own room, she must have gone through the kitchen and up the back stairs and subsequently have gone down and back up again.
Yes, sir.
Have you any reason to suppose you would not have seen her if she had spent any portion of the time in her room or downstairs?
There is no reason why I should not have seen her if she had been down there, except when I first came downstairs for 2 or 3 minutes. I went down to the cellar to the water closet.
After that, you were where you practically commanded the view of the first story the rest of the time.
I think so.
When you went upstairs for a short time, as you say you did, then you went in sight of the sewing machine.
No, I did not see the sewing machine because she had shut that room up.
What do you mean?
I mean, the door was closed. She said she wanted it kept closed to keep the dust and everything out.
Was it a room with a window?
It has 3 windows.
A large room.
The size of the parlor. A pretty fair-sized room.
Is it the guest room?
Yes, the spare room.
Where the sewing machine was in the guest room?
Yes, sir.
I ask again, perhaps you have answered all you care to. What explanation can you give? Can you suggest as to what she was doing from the time she said she had got all the work done in the spare room until 11 o'clock?
I suppose she went up and made her own bed.
That would be in the back part.
Yes, sir.
She would have to go by you twice to do that.
Unless she went when I was in my room that few minutes.
That would not be time enough for her to go and make her own bed and come back again.
Sometimes she stayed up longer and sometimes shorter. I don't know.
Otherwise than that, she would have to go in your sight.
I should have to have seen her once. I don't know that I need to have seen her more than once.
You did not see her at all?
No, sir, not after the dining room.
What explanation can you suggest as to the whereabouts of your mother from the time you saw her in the dining room and she said her work in the spare room was all done until 11 o'clock?
I don't know. I think she went back into the spare room, and whether she came back again or not, I don't know. That has always been a mystery.
Can you think of anything she could be doing in the spare room?
Yes, sir. I know that she used to do sometimes. She kept her best cape she wore on the street in there, and she used occasionally to go up there to get it and to take it into her room. She kept a great deal in the guest room drawers. She used to go up there and get things and put things. She used those drawers for her own use.
That connects her with her own room again, to reach which she had to go downstairs and come up again.
Yes.
Assuming that she did not go into her own room, I understand you to say she could not have gone to her own room without you seeing her.
She could while I was down cellar.
You went down immediately you came down, within a few minutes, and you did not see her when you came back.
No, sir.
After the time, she must have remained in the guest chamber.
I don't know.
So far as you can judge.
So far as I can judge, she might have been out of the house or in the house.
Had you any knowledge of her going out of the house?
She told me she had had a note. Somebody was sick, and she said, "I'm going to get dinner on the way," and asked me what I wanted for dinner.
Did you tell her?
Yes. I told her I did not want anything.
Then why did you not suppose she had gone?
I supposed she had gone.
Did you hear her come back?
I did not hear her go or come back, but I supposed she went.
When you found your father dead, you supposed your mother had gone?
I did not know. I said to the people who came in, "I don't know whether Mrs. Borden is out or in. I wish you'd go see if she's in her room."
You supposed she was out at the time?
I understood so. I did not suppose anything about it.
Did she tell you where she was going?
No, sir.
Did she tell you who the note?
No, sir.
Did you ever see the note?
No, sir.
Do you know where it is now?
No, sir.
She said she was going out that morning.
Yes, sir.
I shall have to ask you once more about that morning. Do you know what the family ate for breakfast?
No, sir.
Had all the breakfast been cleared away when you got down?
Yes, sir.
I want you to tell me just where you found the people where you got down that you did find there.
I found Mrs. Borden in the dining room, and I found my father in the sitting room.
And Maggie?
Maggie was coming in the back door with her pail and brush.
Tell me what talk you had with your mother at the time?
She asked me how I felt. I said I felt better than I did Tuesday, but I did not want any breakfast. She asked me what I wanted for dinner. I told her nothing. She said she was going out and would get the dinner. That is the last I saw her.
Where did you go then?
Into the kitchen.
Where then?
Down cellar.
Gone perhaps 5 minutes?
Perhaps not more than that. Possibly a little bit more.
When you came back, did you see your mother?
I did not. I suppose she'd gone out.
She did not tell you where she was going?
No, sir.
When you came back, was your father there?
Yes, sir.
What was he doing?
Reading the paper.
Did you eat any breakfast?
No, sir. I don't remember whether I ate a molasses cookie or not. I did not eat any regularly prepared breakfast.
Was it usual for your mother to go out?
Yes, sir. She went out every morning nearly and did the marketing.
Was it usual for her to go away from dinner?
Yes, sir. Sometimes. Not very often.
How often, say? Was it usual for her to go away from dinner?
Yes, sir. Sometimes.
How often, say?
Oh, I should not think more than, well, I don't know. More than once in 3 months, perhaps.
Now, I call your attention to the fact that twice yesterday you told me, with some explicitness, that when your father came in, you were just coming downstairs.
No, I did not. I beg your pardon.
That you were on the stairs at the time your father was let in, you said with explicitness. Do you now say that you did not say so?
I said I thought first I was on the stairs. Then I remembered I was in the kitchen when he came in.
First you thought you were in the kitchen. Afterwards you remembered you were on the stairs.
As I said, I thought I was on the stairs. Then I remembered I was in the kitchen when he came in.
Did you go into the front part of the house after your father came in?
After he came in from down street, I was in the sitting room with him.
Did you go into the front hall afterwards?
No, sir.
At no time?
No, sir.
Excepting 2 or 3 minutes you were down cellar, were you away from the house until your father came in?
No, sir.
You were always in the kitchen or dining room, excepting when you went upstairs.
I went upstairs before he went out.
You mean you went up there to sew a button on?
I basted a piece of tape on.
Do you remember you did not say that yesterday?
I don't think you asked me. I told you yesterday I went upstairs directly after I came up from down cellar with the clean clothes.
You now say, after your father went out, you did not go upstairs at all.
No, sir, I did not.
When Maggie came in there washing the windows, you did not appear from the front part of the house?
No, sir.
When your father was let in, you did not appear from upstairs?
No, sir, I was in the kitchen.
That is so?
Yes, sir, to the best of my knowledge.
After your father went out, you remained there, either in the kitchen or dining room all the time?
I went into the sitting room long enough to direct some paper wrappers.
One of the 3 rooms?
Yes, sir.
So it would have been extremely difficult for anybody to have gone through the kitchen and dining room and front hall without you seeing them.
They could have gone from the kitchen into the sitting room while I was in the dining room, if there was anybody to go.
Then into the front hall?
Yes, sir.
You were in the dining room, ironing?
Yes, sir, part of the time.
You were in all 3 rooms?
Yes, sir.
A large portion of that time, the girl was out of doors?
I don't know where she was. I did not see her. I supposed she was out of doors as she had the pail and brush.
You knew she was washing windows?
She told me she was going to. I did not see her do it.
For a large portion of the time, you did not see the girl?
No, sir.
So far as you know, you were alone in the lower part of the house a large portion of the time after your father went away and before he came back?
My father did not go away, I think, until somewhere about 10, as near as I can remember. He was with me downstairs.
A large portion of the time after your father went away and before he came back, so far as you know, you were alone in the house.
Maggie had come in and gone upstairs.
After he went out and before he came back, a large portion of the time after your father went out and before he came back, so far as you know, you were the only person in the house. For a large portion of the time, you did not see the girl.
No, sir.
As far as you know, you were alone in the lower part of the house a large portion of the time after your father went away and before he came back.
My father did not go away, I think, until somewhere about 10, as near as I can remember. He was with me downstairs.
A large portion of the time after your father went away and before he came back, so far as you know, you were alone in the house.
Maggie had come in and gone upstairs.
After he went out and before he came back, a large portion of the time after your father went out and before he came back, so far as you know, you were the only person in the house.
So far as I know, I was.
And during that time, as far as you know, the front door was locked.
So far as I know.
And never was unlocked at all.
I don't think it was.
Even after your father came home, it was locked up again.
I don't know whether she locked it up again after that or not.
It locks itself.
The spring lock opens.
It fastens, so it cannot be opened from the outside.
Sometimes you can press it open.
Have you any reason to suppose the spring lock was left so it could be opened from the outside?
I have no reason to suppose so.
Nothing about the lock was changed changed before the public came?
Nothing that I know of.
What were you doing in the kitchen when your father came home?
I think I was eating a pear when he came in.
What had you been doing before that?
Been reading a magazine.
Were you making preparations to iron again?
I had sprinkled my clothes and was waiting for the flat. I sprinkled the clothes before he went out.
Had you built up the fire again?
I put in a stick of wood. There were a few sparks, and I put in a stick of wood to try to heat the flat.
You had then started the fire?
Yes, sir.
The fire was burning when he came in?
No, sir, but it was smoldering and smoking as though it would come up.
Did it come up after he came in?
No, sir, but it was smoldering and smoking as though it would come up.
Did it come up after he came in?
No, sir.
Did you do any more ironing?
I did not. I went in with him and did not finish.
You did not iron any more after your father came in?
No, sir.
Was the ironing board put away?
No, sir, it was on the dining room table.
When was it put away?
I don't know. Somebody put it away after the affair happened.
You did not put it away?
No, sir.
Was it on the dining room table when you found your father killed?
I suppose so.
You had not put it away then?
I had not touched it.
How soon after your father came in before Maggie went upstairs?
I don't know. I did not see her.
Did you see her after your father came in?
Not after she let him in.
How long was your father in the house before you found him killed?
I don't know exactly because I went out to the barn. I don't know what time he came home. I don't think he had been home more than 15 or 20 minutes. I'm not sure.
Lizzie is played by Tanya Montoya, and Hosea Knowlton, the district attorney, is played by Tim Dennis. I'm Martin Dodge at Cable Radio, and if you would like more information, visit the website of Lizzie Borden, audio.com.
Transcriptions of Lizzie Borden's inquest provided with permission by Stephanie Corey and LizzieAndrewBorden.com.